for joining us. We are the Nova Scotia Young Farmers, Nova Scotia Meet Your Farmer, and the Nova Scotia Federation of Agriculture. And we're pleased to have you all here tonight to join us for our Let's Get Cooking event. I'm very pleased to introduce our talented chef, Andy Hay, who will be leading us to cook a very delicious dish tonight. Andy is a self-taught chef, dad, and a content creator from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. After quitting his job in 2017 to pursue a career in food, Andy found himself as the runner-up on MasterChef Canada. Shortly thereafter, Andy's East Coast Kitchen was born, and Andy had the opportunity to cook for Prime Ministers, the Toronto Blue Jays, G7 ministers, just to name a few. While quarantined in the spring of 2020, when his catering company completely shut down, Andy took his passion for approachable food to social media. Andy resolved to create 100 quarantine kitchen episodes, which saw thousands of people across the country and the globe follow and cook along with Andy's daily recipe successes and failures, while family mayhem continued around him. Now, in addition to being a husband and dad to his two little girls, Andy is a content creator and recipe developer with a passion for helping home cooks up their food game for the benefit of their families. You can now watch Andy cook for his life on MasterChef Canada Back to Win All-Stars on CTV. The recipe that Andy is making tonight was sent to all the registered viewers in advance. If you have the ingredients and want to try cooking along, you can, or sit back and let Andy do all the work. One thing we haven't mastered yet on Zoom is how to smell and taste. Thanks for joining us, Andy, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. What an honor. I am so pumped. This is a funny world we're living in, but this is these events are really fun, and I'm really, really honored to be working with the entire group here, young farmers, all farmers. You guys make my life so incredibly easy. The hard work is getting amazing produce, making it perfectly ready to harvest and eat. My job is just assembling it onto a plate. So thank you for all the amazing work that you guys do. I appreciate it greatly. It is approaching bedtime here, and you're going to see a couple of kids running through, but that's all good. This is real life, real life. Okay, so here we go. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Okay, what's it? Okay, so what we're doing today, this is a really fun recipe. I love this one. I've been craving this all day, all week, knowing that we're going to have to do this one. Okay, go to that. So what we're going to be doing today, this is something that you're going to want to make a lot of, because tomorrow this is possibly even better. It's super delicious. So we're going to be doing a dish that, again, not my story to tell, but I feel like one of the main things that I like to do is cook East Coast food. And in Halifax, our official dish is the doner. We have an incredibly vibrant Lebanese community. I feel like we're so lucky to have access to amazing Middle Eastern and Mediterranean cuisine, that this is a great dish. And so we're going to be doing a beef kofta, some tabouli, a really nice yogurt that will go with it, and some lemon roasted potatoes. This is a doozy. My goal with these things is always to come up with recipes that I hope that you guys will make week in and week out. This is an awesome one. I will go slow. I'll make sure that I'm constantly checking in with you. I don't want to get too far ahead, so don't be intimidated. If you're not a fast cook, that's all good. Cooking's supposed to be relaxing. We're all going to enjoy it. We're going to get through this. It's going to be a blast. So again, thank you all for tuning in. This is going to be really fun. So first things first, what we're going to do is get your oven turned up to about 400 degrees. That's a big thing that I find a lot of home cooks will cook on lower temp. Treat your oven the same way that you treat like your stovetop. Get that high heat. Burnt is a flavor. Never be scared to burn your food. And then if you do burn it, you can always have that excuse. So what we're going to start off with is the potatoes, because those are going to take a little bit in the oven. These potatoes are absolutely gorgeous. These are from Greg and Suzanne Garrett's. They're awesome. So many great farmers in Nova Scotia. I feel incredibly spoiled to have access to this level of produce, especially this time of year. So thank you all for this. So with these fingerling potatoes, really any potato will do. I'm going to slice these down directly down the middle, like so. And depending on how many people that you're serving, I'd say probably around 4 to 5 per person. I might just toss these quickly into a bowl so that we can add a little bit. I've got some olive oil here, a little bit of salt. So you'll hear me talking a lot today about, like, you'll have obviously the amazing produce, but the goal for me as a chef is to add more flavor or get the most out of it. So the big things that add flavor to any dish are a few different things. So in the food world, we're always very concerned about balance. So balancing fat, acid, salt. And then when you start talking cooking, you want to add heat in there as well. So I'll keep on touching that more and more, but those are basically the entire aspects of flavors. How do you balance these things? And once you're able to understand how those play together, you can cook anything at home. So I've got all those potatoes in a bowl. I'm going to add in a nice pinch of salt and a good glug of olive oil. Give that a little bit of a toss. And then into, I dropped one there, into probably my favorite baking utensil, baking tool. If any of you follow me on Instagram, you know I talk about this all the time. I love a good bake sheet. Get a good quality bake sheet, something that's nice and sturdy. This one's pretty beat up, but you want to get like a nice metal one. It just retains the heat better, more evenly. So have them all facing downwards. I'm going to pop that in the oven. I'll set a timer so you guys don't have to worry about timing. You guys just relax there. Leave it to me. I'm going to put this in for probably 30 minutes and we'll check back in on it. So I'm going to pop that in right now into the oven. And we will set the timer. All right, that'll go off here in a moment. And we'll toss that over there. Okay, we're looking good. Potatoes are on. We're relaxing. This is all good. So what we're going to do next is start kicking on to the tabbouleh. So this tabbouleh salad is awesome. It's really bright, really fresh, something that we cook a lot of at home. It's really, really delicious. We're going to keep it really simple here. So a lot of Middle Eastern cuisines are really using a ton of fresh, bright flavors. And that's where I got a lot of my love for cuisine is again, I find it just allows you to explore and learn about cultures by understanding and get to explore their food a little bit more. So what we're going to need here is we've got these beautiful tomatoes. These tomatoes, I can't believe how beautiful they are, especially for this time of year. They're absolutely gorgeous. From Timothy Willman. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to dice up the tomatoes. So any way that you can, don't worry about it. Doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to try to dice these into little tiny cubes as much as possible. Don't worry about it. It's as long as you think that would be enjoyable to eat, go for it. Some home cooks get so hung up about not having a recipe or not making it look perfect. It doesn't matter. As long as you think it tastes good or looks good, just roll with that. Trust your palate. Trust what you think tastes good. So I'm going to probably put in 5 or 6 of these cherry tomatoes that I have on my side that are gorgeous. I can't get over how vibrant these colors are. And I find that that's a big part when I'm cooking. Like when I'm especially looking for vegetables, you eat with your eyes first. So these vibrant colors are so unbelievable to cook with. Again, it makes my job very, very easy. We're just going to dice some of those up and pop that into the bowl. So again, it depends on how many people you're serving here. So we're still early days. We haven't got too far ahead there. I'm good with that, with what we've got there. So I've got probably 5 or 6 cherry tomatoes into a bowl. Next up, what we're going to do is add in some fresh parsley. This is another thing that a lot of home cooks don't use enough is fresh herbs. They are, again, I don't need to tell you folks on how to grow them. I grow a lot of my own herbs at home. These are all from Riverview, which are fantastic. That just, you can tell these are so fresh just by they have like great sturdiness to them. And then we've got some gorgeous mint here as well, which we'll talk about after. But with parsley, you generally don't want to eat the stem. The stem can be quite bitter. So what I do is I kind of earlier picked off a lot of the leaves. If you get some stems in there, it's not the end of the world. Don't worry about it. But I'll probably take like a good handful, maybe a cup or 2 of that fresh parsley. And anytime you're working with herbs, what you can do is like bunch them together as much as possible, fold them in on top of each other. This is easy to do, very easy to do with like a basil or a mint. And then what you're going to do is just run your knife down it. The key thing with any time that you're cooking with herbs or slicing herbs is don't over chop, because what you'll actually do is you'll bruise the herb and you'll lose a lot of that freshness and a lot of that flavor that it's the whole reason why you're using that herb. So be gentle with them. Don't be shy, but don't beat them up too much because you don't want to bruise them up and then you lose the color. And that is no good for any herb. All right. So you can add in a little bit more parsley. So again, all we've done so far, we've got the potatoes in the oven at 400. They're going to be in there for about 30 minutes. We got tomatoes in the bowl. We just added a little bit of parsley. We're going to add in some red onion. So I do have some chopped, but I want to show you guys a cool trick. This is something, when I was working, I worked in tech sales of all things for 10 years. And every time my wife and I would go traveling, we would do cooking lessons. We were in Spain and a chef taught me how to properly dice an onion, and it changed my life forever. So I am going to show you just this trick that stuck with me all these years on how to dice an onion. So I'll do this quickly. So what I'm going to do here is just take the onion, lie it on its side, and just go directly down the center of the onion. We'll only need a half here. So that's what we're looking with. So what I'm going to do now is you can kind of see the stem here. I'm not sure if that's a stem. We're coming up to the bulb. I'm just going to cut that off and throw that into the trash bin. And then I'm going to peel off the outer layer of that onion. Okay, stick with me here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have the bottom of the onion there, that connective piece. I'm going to have that to my least dominant hand. So for me, that is going to be my left hand. I'm going to take a sharp knife and I'm going to run the knife 2 to 3 times horizontally around the onion. Don't go the whole way through. We want to make sure that end piece stays intact. So 3 slices horizontally through. Okay, you can go 4 if you want smaller dices. This changed my life, so I hope it does the same for you guys. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the stub of the onion towards you guys, directly out, and I'm going to turn my knife vertical. Now I'm going to run the knife down into the size of the dices that I want it to be. So we've run horizontal, we've run a couple vertical, and now I'm going to turn it back to its original way with the kind of the end facing to the left for me. And now I'm just going to run my knife down through, and you dice an onion in a fraction of the time. It turns out so much better. It just makes it so much easier. So I hope that was worth the cost of admission in itself, because that was, for me, a life-changing moment. Okay, so now we're going to add in, I would say probably about a half cup. It really depends. Anything salad-wise, I don't want to, you guys don't feel like you need to follow exact measurements here. Whatever you feel like you want to taste. If you want it to be a lot of red onions, put a lot in there. If you don't want a lot, obviously go easy on it. No issue there at all. Trust your palate. Trust what you think tastes good. Okay, so in there right now, we've got tomatoes, parsley, onion. We got a little bit of garlic. So I've got some fresh garlic here. That the smell of this one, I can smell it in my whole kitchen. Fresh garlic is just the best. So if you want to take this, I'll probably put a clove to a clove and a half in. So just take that clove. I've got some beautiful ones here. And then we're just going to add, again, depends on how garlicky. This is a very garlicky dish, which I love. I love the flavor of garlic. It's super delicious. So we're going to add that into the bowl. This tabbouleh salad is super great. It'll be lovely tomorrow for lunch. Again, make a lot, because you're going to want this for lunch tomorrow for sure. That's looking really good there. So, as I was talking about earlier, this balance of flavor. Right now, when you think about what's in there, you have the freshness coming from the parsley. You've got kind of that sharp flavor coming from the onion, the umami from the tomatoes themselves. So now we just need a touch of salt just to bring the flavor out of everything. So a little pinch of salt. And then what this is going to need is acid. Acid is a crucial element to almost any dish that you cook. And acid can come in lots of different forms. It could come in any citrus, in a vinegar, anything that will kind of cut the palate. That's the whole game, is balancing of the fat, where it'll round out flavors. You want an acid to cut through and make it fresh, and then the salt will bring out a lot of flavor. So just give that a squeeze, as lemony as you want it. Choose your own adventure here. So I'm just going to give this a little toss, and we'll give it a little bit of a taste. I think I might need, just by the look of it, might need a little bit of more lemon juice. And then what I'm also going to do here is give this a little squirt of olive oil, just to give it that fat that we were talking about. So again, onions, tomatoes, parsley, a little bit of lemon juice, garlic. You can add in spice here. A little bit of cumin might be lovely. Super bright. That's great. So that one's done. We're ahead on that one. That feels nice to get that out of the way. That'll sit lovely in the fridge. You can add a little bit of red wine vinegar in there as well if you want it even more acidic. It's a really, really lovely little dish. Okay, so we'll take a second here to clean our station. I'm just gonna have a quick sip. And now what we're gonna do is get ready on the kofta. So the beef kofta, this is something that you see across a lot of the Middle East. This is a delicious, delicious thing to eat. I love this thing. All this is burgers for the most part. Approach it in the exact same way. We're gonna heavily, heavily, heavily season this beef. This is a great dish to keep in mind for the summertime. Doing this on the barbecue is lovely. A charcoal barbecue is even better, but we can easily do this on a hot pan. I'm just gonna put this back here to heat up. And so what we're gonna do now is take that beef. I probably got, let's say, 1.5 pounds there, just because I want to have enough for leftovers tomorrow. Now we're going to aggressively season this meat. The good thing is we got a lot of the prep done in the prep for the tabbouleh salad itself. I said this was going to be garlicky, and it also uses a lot of onions, a lot of flavors there that we're going to use to spice up this beef. So I'm going to put, let's say, 1/4 cup of red onion. If you've got some left over from the onion that we diced earlier, you likely do. Add some of that in. If you want it very oniony, maybe dice up a little bit more so that we got the beef, the onion. The beef right now is unbelievable. The smell of it coming off. It smells unbelievably fresh. Really, really nice. From the Millen family in Great Village. Add in probably 1 clove to 2 cloves of chopped garlic. And again, I'll go slow here. So again, we're just building flavors here. Really anything that I cook in a lot of different cultures, even a lot of the stuff that would kind of be looked at as traditional Nova Scotian food, a lot of the flavors that you're going to be building start with these foundational elements like garlic, like onion, and then you build up on top of that. So these are absolutely crucial for foundational cooking. So we have those in there. Next up, what I like to add in is a little bit of fresh mint. So this mint is from Riverview Herbs. Oh, it smells incredible. It's so bright. That's what I love about this style of cooking. It's very bright, very fresh. It's healthy for you, and it just has like a lot of big, honest flavors. So in the same way that we did with the parsley, you don't want to over smash up the mint. We're just going to this is called chiffonading. So taking all the mint together and kind of rolling it up almost into a cigar shape and running the knife down through, kind of push through directly through the mint. Don't chop down on it. If you get a nice sharp knife, you can just push through. A sharp knife is an underrated, I drive my mother nuts with this one when I'm not telling her about like the importance of a sharp knife. It can be tricky to take care of a knife. I get it. One really easy way to take care of a knife at home is if you take a coffee mug, flip the coffee mug over, and then run the knife along the bottom of that coffee mug, and I can actually work as a sharpening stone on for your knife. So there's a little bit of a MacGyver to keep your knives nice and sharp. So right now we've got the garlic, we've got the onion, we have the beef, we've got some mint in there. Now we can start spicing it up. So salt will absolutely go in. I would say probably add about a teaspoon, maybe a touch more of that. Depending on the amount of beef you're using. If you're using around 1 pound of beef, I'd say like a teaspoon of salt. We can add on a little while it's cooking as well. I'm going to add in some freshly cracked pepper. Again, choose your own adventure here. It depends on how much you love black pepper. Don't overthink it. Just trust your gut. That's a big thing when I'm talking to home cooks. Is sometimes it's like, well, the recipe says this. But that's totally fair to follow the recipe. But it's amazing when you don't have to follow the recipe. It just makes cooking that much more relaxing, that much more fun. All right. So now we're going to start adding in some spices. So the spices that would be traditionally used here in this area of the world is one of my favorite ones is sumac. So sumac is like this beautiful, it's not coming out as beautifully purple as it is on this end. So sumac is actually something that will naturally grow in Nova Scotia as well. In the summertime, it's a little easier to find, but it's a really interesting spice. It almost has like a lemon zest, olive-y flavor in some ways. It's really, really cool. It just has a beautiful deep purple. It's like a flower that you can dry out and then grind up. It's really, really beautiful. So I'm going to add in some sumac. If you don't have that, I'll show you what to do. I'm going to probably add in, I like these things heavily spiced. I'll probably add in about 2 tablespoons of the sumac. If you don't have sumac, no worries at all. What you can do here is if you have a lemon, the lemon juice is absolutely vital for cooking, obviously, but one thing that's often not used is the zest. The zest has so much flavor in it, but what's cool about that is it actually doesn't add in additional liquid that the juice would. So this tool is something that I use all the time. If you don't have it, no problem. Just you could use a box cheese grater if you wanted to, just the smallest grating size. But this is a lovely tool for all you. I was such a cooking nerd for so long, so that once I got into kitchens and started understanding what tools chefs use, I just nerd out on it so hard. So if there's any cooking nerds out there, get one of these. They're awesome. So you can just grate in some of this fresh zest. This is a great thing to finish salads with. It just makes it nice and bright. You get that lemony flavor. Really, really come through super strong. So add in a little bit of that. So I've got some coriander. So you get coriander would come in the whole seed. With that, you can toast it and then grind it up. You can get coriander in powdered form as well. But I'll probably add in a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of fresh coriander. And then another spice that I really love is cumin. So I use a ton of cumin. You could put that in really any part of this dish, and it's wildly delicious. So I'll add in about a teaspoon of cumin. And then if you wanted to get very specific, I know this wasn't on the recipe list, but 7 spice is something that would be a really prominent thing to be used in a beef kofta in the Lebanese community. All right, so we're looking good there. I might add in a touch of olive oil. I feel like in a lot of Mediterranean, whether it's Greek, Middle Eastern, whatever it might be, a lot of olive oil, a lot of salt. Cumin is one of my favorites too. Yeah, I agree. It's such a good flavor. It's a great one too. Like, we'll get to the yogurt. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I love adding in a little bit of cumin, some cucumber, almost to make like an Indian raita is a lovely thing to have in the fridge as well. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is there's no way around it. We're just gonna roll up our sleeves here and get your hands dirty and mix that up. So I love this dish. Again, in the summertime, it's awesome. This stays in the fridge really lovely. It's a big time crowd pleaser. If you're having people over, I pull this one off all the time. Where if we have people coming over, I will make this the night before so it can marinate. It only gets better as it marinates. Have it on skewers, and then when people come over, I'll fire up the barbecue and chuck them on there. But this is just as easy to pan fry, and it's really lovely. It's an easy weeknight meal. That's what I do. Like on my Instagram page, that's what I'm focused on. I'm all about trying to make approachable recipes that people can just cook at home, because that's my life. Because I might do this for a career now, but as you just saw, I've got 2 crazy kids and a wife that needs to be fed. So this is the food that I cook. So that's what my own plug here for following me on Instagram. All right, so we're gonna give that a nice mixture. You can kind of get those spices coming through. I find like that's the best part of cooking for me, or not the best part, but it's the senses for me are always so heightened when I'm cooking. I'm feeling, what does that feel like? Does that feel like there's enough onion? Do I feel like I want a little more cumin or a little bit more spice? Trust yourself here. Absolutely trust yourself. Did you put any, I can't see that question. Did you put in any chopped? I can't see what that says. I don't know if someone's watching the chat.
It says, did you put any chopped parsley in with the beef?
I put mint, but you could absolutely put parsley. For sure. I might actually add some mint. Parsley is really prominently used in a kofta like this. I've seen one before that have so much fresh herbs in there. You inspired me. I'm going to add in some parsley. You'll see them where they're almost like bright green. With this, you could almost make it, like I've made ones like this where it's almost like a Greek salad, where I put in olives, I put in tomatoes, cucumbers into the actual, that's what I forgot. The tabbouleh salad. We'll have to go back. I forgot to put a cucumber in there. Andy. Silly. We'll go back to that. But yeah, go spice these up as much as you can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab another tray here so that I can shape out these koftas. So these you can really do in any shape you like. Where I've seen them a lot, the way that they're done, oftentimes would be on like a wooden or metal skewer, and almost taken out like a long sausage shape or a long hot dog shape. If you are going to do this on the barbecue, you could easily put that on a skewer and have it about that length. So that's kind of what you're going for here. You can make these into burger shapes. Don't overthink it. Whatever you find easy to manage. They come in all sorts of different shapes. I've tried these in all sorts of different ways, but they're a lovely, lovely thing. My kids eat these, which they're incredibly picky, but this is something they will actually eat. And it's something that I feel like even people that are picky eaters, this is, it's familiar enough where a lot of people will try it. And then once you try it, there's nothing scary in these flavors, and they're really, really lovely to eat. So again, make a lot of these because they're awesome tomorrow and the next day for leftovers. I've been thinking about these all week. So you can make this all into an awesome burger, actually. It'd be a lovely treat. So I'm going to get those set up there. So you're going to want, if you're close to your stove top now, I would say I've got mine on, probably over medium-high heat. So we're going to fry these, just pan fry them. Again, you could easily barbecue them, charcoal barbecue over open wood fire. If you want to get super adventurous, there are lots of different ways to cook it, but we're going to want to get that heat up And so we can get these fried off. I'm just gonna do a quick check on the potatoes for us, because if they burn, that's on me. They're looking good. If you want to give them a little shake, you could, but I think we're all good there. We still got 10 minutes. We're looking good there. All right. So I'm going to bring this pan over. You can add onto the pan. When you're cooking with a lot of different oils, one thing that you do want to be careful of, if you're going to be cooking on really high heat, I mean, you probably all experienced this, and I know there's different levels of cooks here. If you're using like an olive oil to cook, you never want to be on super high heat because olive oil has a low smoke point. So if you're cooking on really high heat, you're going to want to use a neutral flavored oil, a canola oil, a grapeseed oil, avocado oil. So I'm going to put just a touch of that on there, turn down that heat just ever so slightly. And while that's coming up to temp, not to backtrack here, but I did forget to put cucumber into the tabbouleh salad, which is our cardinal sin here. I got to go back and chuck a little bit of cucumber into that salad. Don't feel like you guys have to jump back right now, but that's just something I want to, you almost want that freshness and that additional crunch. And just kind of, just little bite-sized pieces. This is something that I feel like I eat a lot in the summertime. I think I'm just craving some nice weather. I think that's where I'm at now. I'm just going to toss that into the tabbouleh salad and give that a little mix. And again, a crucial thing with when you're cooking at home, taste, taste, taste. Taste everything as you go. Trust your palate. If you think it needs a little bit of salt, it probably does. So just give it a little bit of squeeze. That's generally any time that you need to do some adjusting. What you're going to be adjusting is both the salt level and the acid level. So we had a taste, need a little salt, add that salt in. Maybe that was a little bit too much salt. You can balance that out by putting a little bit of a fat on top of it to round that flavor out, and then finish with a little bit of fresh lemon juice. So that's what cooking is all about. As soon as you get comfortable with balancing salt, fat, acid, you can go into your fridge and literally cook anything based on just like, okay, I need to find a fat, I know I have salt, I need a bit of an acid, add some heat, and we're off to the races. Okay, so my pan is at a good temp here. So I have a little bit of olive oil on there. I've got those koftas. So again, depending on how many people you're serving, this again is a really good one to plan in advance. If you're having people over, you can make a big pot of rice, get a big thing of tabbouleh, some roasted potatoes, these things which have marinated overnight, and just lay them down into a pan or onto the barbecue when you're getting close to eating. It's a really easy dish to come together. It uses a ton of really awesome produce. It's fresh, it's bright, it's light. Oh yeah, that smell. As soon as it hits the pan, you're getting the smell of those spices coming through. If you spiced aggressively, you're getting the garlic, you're getting the cumin, you're getting the coriander, that sumac's coming through. Just lovely. And I'm just gonna add a touch of salt while that's cooking over the top of those koftas. I don't want to go too crazy here because I did put salt in earlier while it was starting. Okay, so we're looking good. Tabbouleh's done. We got the koftas on. The potatoes are looking good. Oh, make sure you turn on this. There's a red element there. So those are going to be just cooking away. I'll keep an eye on them. They're close to me. No problem here. So now what we're going to do is move on to this yogurt. So this yogurt is great. It balances so nicely. It's a great thing to eat with this kind of the spiciness of the kofta itself mixed in with everything. It's lovely. So I've got this awesome plain yogurt from Fox Hill Cheese. Or Fox Hill Farm. I don't think Fox Hill Cheese. I'm very used to their cheese. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to probably add in, let's say a cup. Depends on how much you want. This again is something that is an awesome thing to have in your fridge for a couple of days. Really, really good. So I'm just going to add in maybe a cup and a half of that fresh, delicious yogurt. So we got that in there. So now again, what we're going to do is balance the flavors out. I'm going to add a little bit of salt as a starting point. I'm going to grab that lemon. So we can do this twofold here. I may take a little slice off the side of the lemon to add a little bit of the juice to loosen things up. This almost becomes a loose sauce instead of just a yogurt by itself. I'm going to grab a little bit more. If you have one of these or a cheese grater, I'm just going to add a little of that fresh zest in there, which is going to give us the flavor. But this is a perfect example of why you'd want to use the zest over the juice, is I don't want to add a ton of more liquid into the yogurt because it's going to get too loose. but just adding that zest in gives it that flavor without losing the structure of the actual yogurt itself. So you can kind of see what you're building there. Just a little bit of lemon, a little bit of salt. So we're building those flavors up. You can add in this, I like to add mint. The flavor of yogurt and mint and lemon is so bright and fresh and balanced kind of the fattiness of the beef itself. So it's all about balancing the whole dish together. So I have got a little bit more mint that I'll chop up here. Get that nice and thin. So we get the yogurt, salt, lemon, that fresh mint. In we go. That's looking good. The smell of that is wild. The fresh mint is gorgeous from Riverview. Oh yeah, that's awesome. If you've got a little bit of garlic still kicking around, you can either chop a clove or just add in a little bit of that chopped garlic. I'm just kind of building those flavors as we go here. What else we got that could go in there? Again, a lot of this is kind of building as you go. It's kind of how I'm feeling in the moment. I don't know if this would be on the recipe list to add in some cucumber into this, but it's lovely. For those of you that are keeping up right now, I appreciate it. It's amazing. We're just going to add a touch of cucumber in. And again, this is something that I'd say we cook this at least once a month. So if you don't add cucumber in this time, I hope that this is something that will, my biggest passion of doing this or like pursuing this as a career, or the best part of all of it, is when I see people cook these new recipes on like a random weeknight. It's not even for a special occasion. It's just like the kids needed to eat. We just got home from work, so I made one of your recipes. There's literally nothing better than that for me. So that's beautiful there. It's almost like turning into a raita of sorts. And you can add some spices. You can get some of that cumin kicking around, or coriander is lovely. So you can kind of see the looseness there, but it just balances so well with that beef. Really, really great. So that's looking great. You can add in some onions if you want to. It's totally your call there. All that is, again, yogurt, lemon, a little bit of cucumber if you have it, the fresh mint, a hit of spice, hit of salt. A lovely, lovely thing. That tabouli is still all ready. That's marinating away. Really, really bright flavors there, which is super lovely. The potatoes are getting really close. Folks, we are doing real well right now. This is exciting. So what I'm going to do now is flip over some of these koftas. Careful not to burn yourself. It's all part of it, I suppose. And just give those a flip. You're going to get like a really nice dark crust on that. And that's the cool thing about like anytime you're cooking a beef or any sort of protein and vegetable for that matter, is it's when you're cooking it on a pan, when you're looking for a sear, put it onto the pan and leave it. Don't move it around. There's so much movement that sometimes happens that you actually lose out in that beautiful brown crust that happens through the Maillard reaction when cooking. So just don't move it around much. Let it sit. Let it work its magic. This is not as if we're cooking it like medium rare. We want to cook it right through, if that's your taste. I mean, with ground beef, you can kind of choose your own adventure a little bit there. But I'll cook this one right through, so it's quite well done. That's looking really, really good. I'm going to check those potatoes because I did this once before and I burnt them, so I just want to make sure I don't burn them. Okay. Potatoes are looking good. I'm actually going to turn off that oven. I'm going to let my dog out while we're right here. Sorry. COVID times. All right. So we're looking really good here. So I'm going to haul the potatoes out. So if you have the potatoes in the oven, and they should look pretty good by this point if you had it at 400. So we'll pull those out. And we're going to give those. These should become a family staple because they're just awesome. I'm going to get them out of here now. Oh, yeah. You can push those a little bit further, but beautiful, nice brown on them. Ooh, they're hot. So I'm just going to get these into a bowl. So these are all done. They're good to go. I just like adding in a little bit more flavor. I have so many memories as a kid going to Greek restaurants and getting lemon potatoes. I just love these. These are so bright. It's almost unexpected when you get a potato. So in there, I'm going to add a touch more salt. And then I've got one of these scrap lemons that I had left over. I'm just going to squeeze the lemon juice through my fingers here. I'll just create a strainer. So The seeds don't go in, add in a little bit there. And just give that a nice toss. A crack of nice pepper. Those are looking awesome. Those are crab pleasers. People think they know potatoes and then they get those. They're like, oh my goodness, I didn't expect that. So we're looking really good right now. So I'm just going to get everything all organized and ready. If you want to plate up with me, you're welcome to. No rush here at all. Just going to clear off this spoon. So now, what I like to do is I'll usually take the moment right now to fully get the kitchen clean so that once I can start eating, I can enjoy and not worry about the cleanup. But I'll get all the ingredients directly in front of me that I'm going to want to use. We get the potatoes. We get that tabouli. The tabouli, again, you can have this in the fridge from the day before and just get it ready. Oh yeah, there's some nice crust going on here. I'd say that kofta is just about done. So what I'm going to do here is start with, when I'm plating anything, I'll always start with the sauce. So for this example specifically, it's that yogurt. So I'm just going to place a nice dollop of that yogurt on the left side of the plate, just kind of keeping it relatively tight together. This is just great because it just will sop up everything, or you'll be able to kind of take a bite and get some of that yogurt over everything. Next, oh, I can smell how fresh and bright this is. Might add a squeeze more of lemon, just to finish it. Really bright salad. This is a lovely one. If you have any quinoa or bulgur wheat, you can add that in there and then just makes it that much more kind of its own standalone salad. I'm just going to take a nice big scoop of that and almost put it right beside the yogurt. We'll be pretty generous here. All right, that looks awesome. And now what I'm going to do is I got these fresh koftas that are looking all done. They're looking incredible. I'm hoping you guys are smelling this. It smells incredible on this side. So I'm just going to take, you can serve one or two of these. I always like to kind of lay it across diagonally. Yeah, that looks pretty. And then grab a couple of these potatoes and just lay them on one side. I mean, come on. I know we're doing this here. We took 45 minutes, but you can get that done in less. Finish, a little glug of olive oil. I'm going to give a little bit more of a zesting of lemon. And only because it's me, I'm just going to put a couple little pieces of mint over the top. You got to make it look chefy if we can. Like so. And then maybe a crack of pepper. I'm going above and beyond. You definitely don't need to do that. Great dish there. Just to finish it. So that's it. This is a mez platter. I hope you guys make that at home. So we've got that beautiful yogurt, the tabbouleh salad, the kofta, the lemon potatoes, a healthy meal. It can be done really quick, can be done in advance, all using local products and produce. So that's it. I appreciate you guys having me so much. To all the farmers out there, you guys are amazing. I value your work so incredibly much. You make what I do so much easier because I get to cook with this type of produce. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it to all the organizers here. Thank you for having me. I think we've got another one coming in a couple weeks as well. So this is just one of two, I believe. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Thank you. And I'll stop talking, Mandy. I can send it over to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Andy. My kitchen is smelling amazing. I hope I'm not the only one. I hope there's lots of people out there that joined in and made this beautiful dish. On behalf of Nova Scotia Young Farmers and the Nova Scotia Federation of Agriculture members, I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. I'm sure many of you will be adding this to your menus for the weekend, or maybe you made it tonight like me, and those are the lucky ones, that's for sure. And we'll have the recipe posted and all the farmers that were featured tonight on our website, novascotiayoungfarmers.ca. And also we want to thank our funding partners, which were provided by the Government of Canada and Nova Scotia through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership, which is a federal provincial initiative. Meet Your Farmer will also be hosting another Let's Get Cooking session, as Andy mentioned, and this will be on Thursday, March 25th. This one will be live on Facebook, and Andy will be making a maple blueberry shortcake, which sounds amazing. More information on this event will be available at your meetyourfarmer.ca. So again, we hope you all enjoyed tonight, and everybody enjoy that meal. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I hope my little girls are not too picky.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Again.